This is the lecture for light and color. We will discuss how the use of light and color can vastly change the mood of a painting and of the viewer. I would like to begin with light. Here is my trusty flashlight. The direction that light comes from can tell you quite a lot. Have you ever shined a flashlight on your face from below? It looks really creepy, doesn't it? What if you saw someone looking skyward and the light was on their face? It may indicate that they are praying or that they're blessed to have that light on their face while they're looking up. Look for light sources in art. It can tell you a lot. This is an example of shading or modeling done to make a flat circle appear to be a sphere. The illusion of depth can be made with this type of shading and the use of light. With the use of careful modeling by the artist can achieve successful chiaroscuro. Chiaro means light and scuro means dark, so the artist has created a balance and realistic balance of the lights and darks in the work. Hatching is a method of modeling or shading that uses parallel lines to build up values. Cross-hatching is the use of lines which crisscross to build up tone. This is an example of cross-hatching. Notice the use of lines, but mostly look at how they crisscross to build up that tone and the value to give the illusion of light. Value is a gradual shift from light to dark. Artists use value to model their work by using shading. Press harder with your pencil, you get darker values. Press lighter, and you get lighter values. There's also something called local color, which is what an object looks like in normal daylight. And then there's optical color, which is what an object looks like based on the lighting conditions, like fluorescent lighting. This is a painting by Claude Monet. It's of a haystack in the setting sunlight. Notice how the natural light is, and how we're accustomed to seeing light this way. Notice how the daylight wraps around the haystack, and you can tell where the sun is. This is local color. It's natural light. Now, look at this next example. Here you can see an eerie haze of a bar, probably at night. You've probably been in a restaurant where the lights are like low like this before, and notice how the colors change to be more like deep shades, and how you get the sensation that you're in a bar late in the evening. This unnatural light is referred to as optical color. The light in a room made from one of these like newfangled twisty fluorescent light bulbs would be considered fake daylight, thus changing the colors that surround us into optical color. This is an example of atmospheric perspective, or the illusion of vast space using perspective drawing, color, and light. In Madonna of the Rocks, you can look over her shoulder through the opening in the cave. There are cliffs off in the distance, hazy and blue. Leonardo da Vinci fools our eyes into thinking that there is vast space in this work. There's also some foreshortening in her left hand and some great implied lines here, as the top of her head radiates a triangle over the baby Jesus and John. Let's move on to the color red, blue, and yellow. These are called primary colors. All colors in the universe come from these three colors, except for white, which is the absence of color, and black, which is total color. Now we'll move on to what's called the color wheel. I'm using it here to show you how colors are blended to make more colors. The primary colors are the building blocks of all colors. If you were to take red and yellow, mix them together, you would get orange. If you were to mix red and blue, you would get purple. And if you were to mix yellow and blue, you would get green. Orange, purple, and green are called secondary colors because it's the primary colors mixed together. Analogous is a term used to describe that two colors lie next to each other on the color wheel. In this case, you can see that red and orange are sitting next to each other. They are analogous colors. If you see orange and red sitting next to each other in a painting, you can say something like, this artist has used analogous colors, which lie next to each other on the color wheel. Complementary colors are located directly across from each other on the color wheel, so red and green, orange and blue, purple and yellow. Many football teams use complementary colors for their team jerseys. The reason they chose complementary colors is because when you place a color with its complementary color, they visually vibrate, as in this particular slide. This is a pretty awful combination. Or what about this one? Same colors, just reversed. All right, so here's an example of a much more developed color wheel. We've talked about red, yellow, blue as the primary colors. Can you see them here? Now find the secondary colors, orange, green, and purple. Now we move on to another term, and it's called tertiary color. Tertiary colors are combinations of the secondary colors. I hopefully haven't lost you yet. The way to tell if a color is a tertiary color is it has two names, like yellow-green, blue-green, or red-orange. Anytime you see a double name, it's a tertiary color. Crayola crayons have very many tertiary colors in the box. So if you mix red and purple, you get red-purple, a tertiary color. Or blue and green would be blue-green. Okay, so let's talk about the different dimensions of color. A hue is a graduation or variety of a color. There are hundreds of hues in the spectrum. Tint makes pale hues, which are created by adding white to a particular color. Shade is when you add black to a particular color to get variations. And value is the relation of light and shade. And then there's saturation.